Greetings, everyone. Welcome to our English Literature podcast. My name is Olivia Chabalala.
And my name is Dakalo.
In this podcast, we are going to delve into one of the most famous short stories called The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. Angela Carter's work is one of the most fascinating works, and we are excited to dive into the transformative and reimagining of fairy tales and fantasy stories. Now, let us start with the basics. So, The Bloody Chamber was released in 1979. It was written by Angela Carter, and it is considered to be a literary contemporary British literature of feminist fiction, which includes Gothic fiction, fairy tales, magical realism, which all together contribute to the fantasy as a genre in this short story. Now, we know that The Bloody Chamber is a retelling of the classics such as The Bluebird, The Red Riding Hood, and Beauty and the Beast. Carter doesn't only just retell the stories, but she transforms them into something darker, more complex, and deeply gothic. Now let us ask ourselves a question. Why does Carter uses fairy tale or fantasy as her starting point? We know that fantasy are used as our cultural consciousness to or depicted as innocent, as magical stories, moralistic stories for children, happy endings for children. However, Carter sees them what they truly are, the narratives that reinforces patriarchal norms, gender roles, and also power dynamics. Now, the underlying themes of these stories are patriarchal norms, female sexuality, power dynamics, and also gender roles, including traditional narratives. Now, we know that in this novel, in this story, it is somehow a retelling, but not entirely a retelling of The Bluebird. Everything has been changed to critique the original called The Bluebird. So now we are going to delve into how Angela Carter used fairy tale or fantasy as a way to critique the individuals, the corrupt systems, and also the fairy tales themselves, to critique them. Now we are going to start by how fantasy is not the enemy through Carter's eyes. The Bloody Chamber critiques individuals like the Marquise, not the fantasy of love or luxury itself. We know that in the novel, the protagonist is entirely has the desire to be loved, to be in love, to be married to a wealthy and a man with luxurious items, right? So now let us start with explaining the whole thing before we move into the plot.
We do agree that Angela Carter critiques individuals like the Marquise as the abusive, since the Marquise portray patriarchal violence and also men who
use their dominance to manipulate women and to
also who see women as objects. The Marquise are considered the noble men in societies. Who have a hereditary title below
the duke and above the count.
Yes, in a peerage system. Yes. The Marquise also hides his violent nature behind the expensive jewelries, wealth, and also know how to manipulate women and make them believe that they will be loved. I can also say that the Marquise are also portrayed as predators. When I say predators, I mean men who enjoy hunting down women to abuse and also to torture them.
And to kill them eventually.
Yes.
So now we are going to delve into the plot of the short story. So the plot begins as the Marquise orchestrating a rule for the female protagonist, telling her not to enter one of the rooms in his castle, but she can enter all the rooms in the castle. However, we see the young, naive woman disobeying this rule and trying to find out what is it that what is it so much in that room? And we can see her questioning herself that, oh, is it so much that I don't have to know? But me, I'm going to discover this is going to be an act of love. And we depict this through page 9, where she said, I am only 17. I have not known anything of the world. However, the only thing that I know of is that the Marquise was once married. And the question that she had, and also the mother, the questions that they had was, why is he marrying so soon while he was still bereaving his previous wife? And the plot begins when the young female protagonist finds a room filled with the bodies of the previous wife of the Marquise. And this is where we establish the symbolism of the title, The Bloody Chamber, which is a metaphor for a female body, the female's womb, and the female's vagina. Now, the blood being the menstruation of the female, and also the process of a female losing her virginity. Now, we know that after she discovered those bodies, she was scared for her own life. She was asking herself questions that, is she going to be the victim? Why does the Marquise does what he does, and why does he has to torture these women and kill these women?
Turning now to the cultural fantasies of romance, world, and happily ever after.
Yes.
Keita critiques how society can trick us or trap us as women or young women to believe that marriage is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
We can also see in The Bloody Chamber, it is the opposite, whereby the young wife ends up discovering what the Marquise
has
does.
been hidden.
Yes. Yeah. Meaning now she was scared for her life. What if she was gonna be killed? And yes.
So now this is where we can see the difference between the love and luxury ideals. We believe that the protagonist's desire for love is not critiqued by Carter. However, Carter critiques the character of the Marquise himself, and the example is seen through between the mother of the protagonist and also the Marquise. The mother, who embodies the strength and love, contrasts with the Marquise, showing the ideals can be positive with the right individuals. So this is shown that the mother is the one that shows the love that the protagonist desires. However, this contrasts to the love that the protagonist desires from the Marquise. However, the Marquise does not deliver that love, only dominance, patriarchal norms, and power dynamics as the Marquise. So now we are going to move on to the atmosphere, the elements of the Gothic that are implemented by Carter. So the Gothic atmosphere is depicted through the forbidden chamber, the blood of the bodies that are in the chamber, and the blood when the young protagonist lost her virginity. We also see the darkness that is surrounding the castle, and also that surrounds that room called the Bloody Chamber. Now, Carter uses this as a metaphor for the dangers of patriarchal power and commodification of the female bodies or the women's bodies, right? So moving on to her.
Angela Carter in The Bloody Chamber show us how women can also resist men who try to control them through wealth.
Yes.
Carter also uses curiosity for women to break away and also resist patriarchy from men who have power.
Yes.
The young bride, by opening the forbidden room,
the bloody chamber.
Yes, which is the bloody chamber, is also resistance, because now she gets to know the hidden agenda. Yes, of
the truth that is being concealed by the Marquise.
Yes, and also she discovers the dead bodies of the previous wives.
Yes.
This shows that as time went on, she didn't now care about the luxury, the wealth, but
the
now
love,
yes, she wanted to know what kind of a man she got married to. And then the protagonist mother intervention by breaking the chamber to rescue her daughter shows us that women can also be heroes, because in fairy tales a man is the one who
always
saves a woman. For instance, in the
Bluebird,
the protagonist was saved by the brother when she was about to be killed. Yes.
So now in this short story, Kata gives agency to the heroines, the mother and also the daughter. The mother saving the daughter and the daughter resisting by disobeying the rule and finding out the chamber. So now in conclusion, we believe that Kata critique uses fantasy to critique the individual, such as the marquise and the system that surrounds the fairy tales, to lure, to manipulate, and to lie to women that marriage is a happy ending, and to show the truth that is being concealed by the fairy tales. And we also see that she exposes both the underlying themes, such as the power structures, the power dynamics, the male dominance, the traditional narratives, and this gives us a way to think, to rethink, and also to challenge the roles that are being depicted by the fairy tales. And we believe that fantasy is not a problem, but fantasy is a way to show us exaggerated realities or the real realities of how the world is depicted through these individuals and also this storytelling. So that is that from us. We thank you guys for listening to our podcast. Hope you loved it. See you next time on our next podcast. Bye.
Bye.